turn it over to you. So I'm Angus Jennings. I'm the town manager. And I want to thank everyone who's here today for the interest that you've shown. We've received 3 what appear to be well-qualified designers who've prepared designs to assist the town with the installation of new playground. Today we've got UltiPlayUS, Joe McMahon, and you'll be presenting a sample playground design that you prepared to help the town determine the best design for our playground. The design that's being presented today is going to assist us with choosing the designer. And then at that point, we'd work with a selected designer to fine tune and use today's presentation as a starting point or draft, fine tune in the subsequent weeks to finalize so that the selected vendor could go forward with purchasing and moving forward to schedule construction. So we'll turn it over to you, and you can take your time with your presentation, and then we should have up to about 30 minutes at the end for Q&A. If there's people watching now or who view this later on the town's YouTube channel, if you have any comments or suggestions that you'd like to submit for the playground selection working group, you can contact our town clerk, Mike McCarron, or DPW Director Wayne Amaral, and both of their contact information is posted to the homepage at wnewbury.org. So with that, I really want to thank you guys for your efforts and your proposal, and the floor is yours.
Okay, perfect. Well, we want to thank you for allowing us to make this presentation. And we brought in kind of the whole group here that would be working on this project. I'm Joe McMahon. I'm the Eastern Massachusetts representative for UltiPlay. To my right is Mike Perotti, is the owner of UltiPlay. Diana Martin, to Mike's right, is the New Hampshire rep, and she lives in Hampton, about, what do we determine, 17 and a half minutes away from West Newbury. Hampton Falls. And in the background, not being shown, is Dana, and she is our designer, our in-house designer. So I'm going to turn this over to Mike. He's going to talk a little bit about UltiPlay's history, who we are, what we are. And, you know, if you have any questions when we're making this presentation, feel free to just yell, and hopefully we'll be able to answer those questions for you. So I'm going to turn it over to Mike right now.
Do you want to share a screen? We're going to share our screen, if that's okay. So my name is Mike Perotti. I've been doing this, I hate to say this, but it's been 30 years as of this year. So I started out on the installation side of things, the construction side. So the nuts and bolts, I've dug way more holes than I think I ever want to dig again in putting in playgrounds. But we've always been pretty hands-on, and over the years we expanded into the sales side of things. And we're basically kind of a family-based company. It's hard to say that nowadays, but my son works for the company. I have a joint venture in playgrounds going with my daughter, who's situated down south. I've had a number of family members work for the company throughout the years, and we've had, whether it be sales representatives or installers, a number of them have been 15 to 20 years plus. So we truly are, and that's my dog Fenway. He's no longer with us, but it is a dog-friendly office, and we try to, again, provide products and equipment that fill the needs for parks and playgrounds throughout New England. But we do it in hopefully, we think, in a fun and enjoyable way. It's playgrounds. So how bad can any day be when you're designing and building parks and playgrounds? In terms of products, everything we do is for the most part turnkey in-house. Again, we have our own installers in-house. We don't the day-to-day installs, we're not subbing that out, and we provide services relating to in-house design and consultation. We can install playgrounds as a community build or a turnkey installation, and the products range from everything from equipment to surfacing to music and exercise, trying to really meet all the needs that we can for any typical build. In terms of the management team for this project. Again, I'm the owner of the company, and but I would be involved in the planning and the build part of it. Joe and Diana really are in control of the project and would be your direct contacts throughout the design process and the build process. Dana Grubbs is our lead designer, and she's been with us for several years and can turn drawings around very quickly. So changes are never that big a deal. And Kim is basically the office administrator, and I would say she runs everything. So everybody else, we all take a backseat to Kim. She makes everything happen. She's not here. I would never admit that in front of her, but for the most part, that would be the case.
All right, hi again, everyone. This is Diana now. And as Joe said, I live right over the border in Hampton Falls, New Hampshire. And I had the pleasure of meeting with Wayne last year to discuss the plans for this new playground. And at that time, Wayne and I discussed the vision of what could be the new playground. And one of the things that was important to Wayne and was going to be important to the community was that it was not just ADA compliant, but it was also accessible to all. All of our employees in the company are certified in accessible playground design, and we started our planning with accessibility in mind. We discussed the theme for this playground as well, and after doing some research, I learned that West Newbury was known for its horses and for farming. So we tried to add a little fun in and theming to our design, so you'll see some fun farm play pieces in the design. But back to the accessibility, those are just a few things to know that's important in designing the perfect accessible playground. The first would be the access and the layout. This will provide the people with the all abilities access to equal opportunities to move throughout the playground safely. As you can see in the next few slides coming up, you'll see that we provided an entryway so that users can move directly onto what is called the orientation path. Here we've added the unitary surfacing, which is the orientation path. And in the areas of this, we have included the accessible equipment. And we have grouped that equipment to invite children to engage that have all the diverse abilities. We've also configured the playground into zones so that the line of sight is significantly improved for parents and caregivers. The next thing is the equipment selection. This is important to choose or determine what types of equipment and where to place things to encourage children of all abilities to be able to play together. So here we have included elevated pieces, different colors, ground level play elements, resting points, cozy areas, as well as physical, sensory, and social play areas. Play richness, one of the most important. This is intended to provide children with a rich, inclusive space where they can grow and learn through physical, sensory, and social experiences. Here we added in equipment that includes spinning features, sliding, rocking, swinging, climbing, balancing, jumping, bouncing, tactile, auditory, and visual, and again, the cozy spaces. We had fun putting together these playground designs for the children, and we hope that you like what we've designed. We listened to what we thought was important to the community, and we took that in when we were doing the design. It features many accessible pieces and has lots of choices and equipment for fun and challenge throughout the entire design.
Thanks, Diana. So this is Joe again. We're going to take you through a flyby. We feel it really provides a better look into the playground. I mean, we can provide these great 3Ds and 2Ds, but this flyby, we can really kind of get down and see some of the stuff. And like I said, if you have any questions, please just go ahead and ask while we're doing this. Happy to do like some give and take here. If somebody has some questions about what they're looking at or what could be changed and that stuff. And, you know, you kind of said it perfectly at the beginning where we're really, you know, these are just kind of ideas we've come up with, not necessarily what we think is going to be the final design. And we're going to welcome and expect changes based on your input and what you think is best for your children. And it kind of, you know, we know there's going to be a work in progress. We provided with two options. One that's a combination of poured in place and wood fiber, and the other one that is 100% rubber. Obviously, when we don't use rubber everywhere, it's kind of a give and take. We can put a little bit more emphasis on the play equipment because we're not taking up that big of a budget on the rubber. So what you see in front of you is an aero glider, and this is something that if you have a child that's in a wheelchair or uses a mobility device, they can access that directly from a ramp structure. And what that does is that sways and goes back and forth, and it becomes a great social event for all the children. As you can see here, we have 2 slides, and if you just want to stop right there, you see those are both off the deck in a ramp structure. So if you have a child that is in a wheelchair or again uses a mobility device, they're going to be able to access those slides directly without having to climb stairs or do anything that they might not feel comfortable with or just physically can't do. That slide to the left is what they used to call it a dignity slide. Now it's called a slide to slide, and that's used for once a child goes down the slide, he can slide over or she can slide over and allow their friends to go by and join in the fun. And one thing that's super important about an inclusive playground is you want to develop and design a structure that is going to try to fit everyone. And when we mean everyone, you mean children of all disabilities, but also typically developing children, because you want them all to be playing alongside each other and joining in the fun. And really, that's the most important thing on this whole thing, is making sure that this playground is for everyone. In front of you is a cozy cocoon. That was designed originally for children on the autism spectrum. It became one of Playworld's biggest sellers, and now everybody uses it, but it was designed for a child that needs to get away from the activity of a playground to kind of get in and kind of seclude themselves a little bit. You can see how just over that slide is a net climber, which we've linked. So again, we're trying to challenge everyone. Go ahead, Danny, you can move that along. This is a Zoom track, and we did a double Zoom track that it has an accessible seat and also a seat for, again, you're typically developing children. So again, they're playing alongside and with everyone. In the front right there is a group swing. Again, a great inclusive piece. And in the background, there's a music area. It's great to use all these types of elements, music, everything. Go ahead. And then in the front right there is our 2 to 5 structure. Go ahead, you can run that, Dana. And here we've just used some, they're called Playtime Pieces. And they can make anything you want. You can stop it right there. They can make anything you want. Like if your town has a mascot of, like, say, a panther or something, and you want to put a panther in your playground, we can make a panther for you. But it's just used. I know West Newbury has a lot of farming, so we thought we'd add that in, a kind of a whimsical type of piece. In front of you is a wheelchair spinner. Again, can be used for both typically developing children, and a child can wheel right onto that and play alongside their friends. In the back is our shade unit. So that's a kind of a spot where maybe kids could go and get out of the sun and get away from the activity for a little while. As you can see in the background, we've also added 2 very high slides that are off a 108-inch deck. Those need to be accessed by stairs off the ramp. We could have ramped it up to that, but it would have taken up that whole entire piece. So we decided after 36 inches on this one is to use some stairs and to add some other components. Are there any questions on option one? No? Okay, we're gonna go to option two real quick. Once this plays through.
Hey, just a quick question on that shade structure.
Yep,
Does that stay up year round or does that come down for the winter?
the frame stays up year round. It's made of steel. And the canopies come down in the wintertime. And where we have our own installers and we control our own employees, what we do is we have a service where we'll go and we will say November, late October, early November, we'll go around and we'll take those down for everybody. There's a minimal fee for it of like $50 to $75. And then we'll return back in April and we'll put that shade canopy up. A lot of people keep them up, but honestly, you're better off taking the shade part down because you're gonna get a lot more years out of it. And they're rated for 105 miles an hour with the shade on and then like 170 something with the shade off. So those are cemented in.
Thank you.
Sure. So this is option two, and Dana's going to go to our option. Now, hold on one second. So just so everybody knows, we represent Playworld that's out of Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, but we also represent a number of other companies. And in this design, we've kind of utilized, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 different types of companies on this. We feel we have with that ability, we feel we can provide a lot of different things that maybe not everybody else can provide, because we can pull from these different companies and what one company may have, the other may not, and feel that really adds to the design and the complexity of the design. So most of what you see here is from Playworld, but I'll spell out what isn't when we get there. So again, we've used a ramp structure, and we hope this is what you're looking for, but again, we're willing to make changes. So right here, that's a group spinner, and in the background is a thing called Timber Stacks from a company called Earthscapes. So again, that provides like a different level of challenge that like Diana was talking about. And it also provides this tactile feeling, a completely different feeling for children. It's not steel and rope. It's now you're talking about natural wood. That's made out of Robina, black locust. So it's gonna last like 30 years before we see anything. Go ahead. Again, we've got a ramp. This one ramps up to, I believe it's 48 inches. Again, we have multiple slides, 2 slides off the ramp. What you see in the front there is an integrated, it's called the Converse. It's an integrated rope climber. To access that much higher deck. Again, it provides that challenge for the typically developing child, but provides that the slides and things that children that might have some mobility disabilities. So we've, it really is a complete playground. Go ahead, Dana. So underneath here, you have these Prism Passes. That provide some different light and different sensory elements for children. And this is a new piece for us. It's called the Mighty Descent. So it kind of reminds me of that slide. You might see it like the Topsfield Fair or something, that it was all steel that you get in those, what are those, burlap bags and you go down, but they're wide. We just put one of these in Holyoke, and the kids love it. They can get like 3 or 4 kids going down the slide at the same time. something really unique to our industry. So we're thrilled with it. Again, we have the Cozy Cocoon. To the right there is a Quattro seesaw, a great social piece for the younger children with back, so it provides that support. And again, we've added that whimsical element of the pig in the background. But again, if you want to put a panther or a shark or anything in there, we can do that, or completely take it out, whatever's going to work for you.
Joe, is this this surface entirely the poured in place?
This surface is completely, completely poured in place. When Dana did this, she used two different colors
Different age groups.
to show the two different age groups, to delineate the two. And we
Okay.
can do multiple colors within the rubber. Like if you wanted to have like a tread path around it or make some fun designs, we can certainly do that. But that is 100% rubber.
By using the light colors, does it get very hot still?
So with the rubber, we provided what they call a 50-50 blend. So it's color, it's whatever color you want mixed with black. We can do 100% color. It just gets a little bit more expensive. And depending on the color, we may need to use what they call an aliphalic binder. And that binder is to make sure that, like, if you used a bright yellow, you want to use that so it holds the color and it doesn't fade. In terms of getting hot, rubber is going to be hotter than mulch, regardless of the color. It's great for March and April. It does get warm, and I'm not going to lie to you, it does get warm in July and August. For the school time, rubber is a great option because you get to use it a lot more. The snow will melt quicker on it. It's kind of like asphalt where the snow melts quicker on the asphalt. So you can get a lot more use out of it when you're going to want to go out for recess on those January days. But rubber, no matter what the color, is going to get hot. Obviously, the lighter the color, the more reflective it has. And so it doesn't get as hot. So if you went with a dark blue, it's going to get a little bit hotter than, say, a light gray. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yes, thank you. That was great.
Sure. So right in that corner, we provided an Earthscapes play hut for the younger kids. In the background is the 2 to 5 structure. And we've found that when you design a big playground like this, I know you want a 2 to 5 area, and that's what we've tried to provide for you. But those 3-year-olds that have a 6-year-old brother, when they see them playing on the big boy playground, they tend to go and play there. And with this ramp structure, you could definitely feel safe about them going off the slides, off the ramp structure and stuff. So we didn't want to put too big of a 2 to 5 structure in there. But again, you know, if you feel, we really want to emphasize the 2 to 5, then we can make that bigger and change everything. But we tried to keep that at, we thought, a good spot. You can go ahead and roll that, Dana. That's, again, an accessible world that we use again now. If you want to stop right there. Like if you say, well, look, I don't know if my kids are going to use that, but we definitely want something that spins, and we definitely have children that might need some help getting onto a spinner. We have different options of spinners that as long as they have a caretaker or a one-on-one aid or whatever, can definitely use, as long as they can transfer out of their chair. We just threw this one in because, you know, without really speaking and getting into the nitty-gritty, we thought that was maybe the best option to start with. But we have a variety of different options to change if you want to. In the front there is another group swing. It's a different type of group swing than we had in the other one. This one is from a company called Berliner, takes up a little bit less of a footprint. That's why we decided to put this one in. Again, when you're talking about going all rubber, you want to try to keep things as tight as you can. So that's, again, one of the other companies we used. Both options have a Gaga pit to the right, and that is, again, by a fourth company here. So we're really excited to be presenting this, and hopefully we're like 50% to what you were thinking of. But again, once we, if we're awarded it, we sit down and we really get into the nitty gritty of everything and make some changes. Do you have any questions on anything else? Do you want to stop sharing?
We don't need the screen share.
So we're going to stop the screen share so we can see everybody and people can see us. You're muted, I think.
Hi, everyone. I just had a quick question about installing some other items in. If we wanted to put additional cozy cocoons, if that became popular and it's a full poured surface, is that possible? Is this simply maybe punching a 16-inch hole down just to anchor it underneath and then patching at the base?
So if there was room in the design to put something like that in, yes, it's as simple as again, our guys can do all this. They can cut the hole, dig it, and then patch it with, like, say, a different color. We could also add to the left or to the right or whatever. So yes, we could add things. Yes.
I have a question. I like that you did the two designs for us to look at. I think that was very thoughtful. And even on the combination poured in place and the wood chips, it was thoughtful and it was accessible by everybody. I do have to say I like the poured in place better, but obviously when you have the full poured in place, you have a more limited budget, but that zoom track was really cool. Is there a way to incorporate that where maybe the entry of it is on the poured in place and it can shoot off of the existing footprint, or is it way out of the budget if we do the full poured in place?
No, I think there's definitely ways to make things like that. Like so what we generally do, and once we present a design like this, is people look at the design and say, okay, what are my must-haves? Like, what I want that zoom track. Okay, so what are we going to need to do to make that work within your budget? And we can certainly make that happen. Yes.
And that can be a combination of surfaces too. So that wouldn't be a problem at all.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have for each of the designs like a number of how many play features and how many of those are accessible?
We can do that. Yeah, Dana can do that with it. She has an accessible. Is it on there, Dana? It might be on there. She's gonna look. Yeah, when you design a playground, you need to have a certain, for any elevated component, you need to have a certain amount of ground-based components. Now, this is going to blow away what is required. I don't know if we listed that on the design, which she's looking right now.
I don't have the original design.
So I can get that over to you.
Okay.
But where we have the ramps and we have like the slides coming off the ramps, those would all be accessible. Now, things that have like stairs, like if you had a design that had multiple stairs, then I guess they would be considered accessible, but there's a couple different ways you can do accessibility. Like those slides that you see in the top, like in the middle, those are technically accessible, but are they accessible by a child that is in a wheelchair or in a walker or has some other mobility issues? So, we'll give you this count, but you're really gonna also look at like, okay, do you have a lot of children that have mobility disabilities in the school?
Dustin, can you just speak to that?
I'm sorry. I was I was,
The
That's my
question
point
was, do we, do we have a number of students with different abilities and mobility and that kind of thing in the school?
yeah, so we do need to plan for multiple different mobility issues.
Yep, okay.
That can change in any moment's notice. So we want to.
Yeah, so I get it, like my wife's a teacher, my daughter's a teacher, Mike's wife's a teacher, so we get that, so this would definitely, we have this ramp off to at least, so what, we got 36 on this one, so you have a number of accessible items just off the ramp, and then ground-based. And if you wanted to add more ground-based play, we can certainly do that and make that change for you.
Sorry, I'm doing the camera.
And you don't have to do it right now, Dana.
That's okay, I'm almost done.
Okay.
I got two questions
Sure.
I could ask. Do you have a hard roof product that's not a fabric, like maybe a metal roof product they can use for a shade structure? I've seen them in other parks, so.
Yeah, we do. The cost is exponentially more.
Okay.
You probably, I don't have the list of what that costs, but my guess is that's probably around the $5,000 or $6,000 price point, and something of that size with all metal would be probably, what do you think, Mike, triple?
Probably 20 to 25.
Yeah,
20, probably around 20 for that size.
in the installation, you got to dig a completely different footing for those. You need to set up substantial piers for that to sit on. So yes, we do. It just, the cost is going to be different.
Mm-hmm. It's windiest part of town by far.
Yeah.
It's been so windy, it's knocked out the windows in the school.
Wow.
It blew in the windows. So so it's a little windy up there. It's windy probably 11 months out of 12 months a year up there.
Yeah.
And it makes you can't breathe up there during a winter storm. It's so windy. So it's the craziest place in town. And I don't know if a hard roof structure is even any better than just ripping down the fabric, but I'm a realist, and sometimes we don't get to things like we're supposed to get to things.
Yeah.
And you could have an August 3rd hurricane, say, that comes through town, and we're not planning to take the roof down till November 3rd. And you could have hurricane season starts, late August, early October in New England. So, it's just, and we don't pay attention, and all of a sudden the whole thing gets ripped off. So I'm just a little nervous about that.
Makes sense.
But there is options. You're saying there's other.
There are definitely options, but I must say that we have these installed on some roofs in Boston. So they make it up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the biggest thing is of course snow loads, but
Yep.
again, there are options. The prices do vary in terms of size and materials and design. So we could certainly look at any options that work and make it fit the budget. Everything can be considered. So a more permanent structure is not out of the question.
Yep.
Okay. So if just your opinion, if you were going to choose a ground surface type, if we asked you for your opinion and you had the three options of one is all engineered wood fiber, one a hybrid, and another one is all rubber, what's your opinion on the three options if you got to choose?
Well,
Are you asking me as what I prefer, or from an accounting standpoint? I guess.
No, I mean, really as you prefer. I mean, I think we understand the rubber is more expensive. That's a given. We understand the given on that.
The pour in place is more forgiving, and that unitary surface really eliminates barriers to inclusion. The loose fill materials, the engineered wood fibers, are considered accessible, but there is a degree of maintenance that's required to make that happen. If you're familiar with some of the issues that have been transpiring around the state, the engineered wood fiber it's really a more pressing point to make sure that once it's in, it's maintained on a regular basis. And if you have access to that ability, it really helps. In a perfect world, if you had a unitary surface, whether it were a poured-in-place rubber, a bonded rubber, synthetic grass, or a combination of all, you're really able to meet or reduce those barriers all the way around.
Great.
So,
Thank you.
So that's always a question everybody has, right? Budget, surfacing. The answer is there's no perfect solution to surfacing, unfortunately. Every surfacing has its benefits and its drawbacks. One thing you do need to make sure that rubber isn't like we're going to get it done and it's going to be there for 25 years. You need to upkeep it, and if you see some cracks or something, we need to patch it. If you do a combination, one of the things, we've done a lot of combinations with running pass through engineered wood fiber. You're going to want to make sure that somebody's around once in a while to blow the path off, just to keep the mulch off the path or the edges of the rubber. But we've done a lot of combinations lately. It really does come down to budget. And a couple questions for you. So you were going to do the site prep. You're going to excavate the area, and you wanted us, because in our proposal, I put in that we would come in with the processed stone, we'd do all the site prep, but you would do the excavation as needed, correct?
That's correct. And if the base was going to be inexpensive and easy, we would do it. But I am open for a consultant to take that on, honestly, the vendor to take that on.
Yeah, we included it in our pricing, but obviously if you have someone that in town that says, look, we'll donate all this work, we can certainly work with them. And, it happens once in a while. We can certainly work with them and tell them exactly what we need from them. So,
okay,
we're willing to work with anybody in terms of what needs to get done.
I think we're planning on town staff to do most of the work, but again, I have a 3-person DPW staff. So if there's any way I could absorb the cost somewhere else, and if it was in the budget and we could have somebody else do the base prep, that'd be, we could do the excavating and the leveling, but if somebody would do the base, that's going to be a conversation to have.
Yeah, with a typical project like this, we're always trying to find ways to be creative and really stretching your resources, your budget. And once we're kind of narrowing down what we're doing from a design standpoint too, we tend to want to have, we don't want to drop off the face of the earth. We want to communicate a lot. We want to have that pre-construction meeting. We want to make sure everybody's on the same page in terms of roles and responsibilities. And things go smoothly that way. It's something we try to make happen just so we're not, missing something. But anytime we can do a pre-con type thing and work with, whether it's DPW or other members of the town or staff or volunteers, we're open to all ideas. Whatever can best make the project happen as affordably and efficiently as possible.
That'd be great. Thank you. I know volunteers becomes a little bit of a challenge dealing with contractors who live in town. It's great. It sounds great on paper and it sounds great when you're talking to them until you start doing the product and you start doing the project. And one guy thinks it's the best way to do it this way, and the other guy's son knows how to do this, and then they got this equipment, and that equipment doesn't have a license plate on it, and you wonder if it's even legal. So it's obviously something that we should definitely talk about. We could definitely talk about a vendor who could do it at a less, maybe same price as we could do it, maybe, but do it at a different quality that we could probably pull.
Yeah, I mean, we can do it all for you. That's, it's just, if you need to save some pennies somewhere, we're happy to work with anybody.
That'd be great. Thank you. Thank you.
Dana did put in the ADA count.
In the chat.
In the chat, and we can send that to you by email if you want.
Okay.
That'd be great.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And again, so, we have our own guys, so we can control what needs to get done, when, where, and such. What was your time frame for this? Like when you're trying to get this started?
In the real world, I mean, yeah, I mean, we like to have it done this. We like to have it done this fall before school starts, but we understand the challenges of ordering material and products right now. Everything is so far behind, and we have to. We're going to have to choose the designer, do the design as we outlined in the email. Then have another community meeting with the designer and the final design, and then we have to prepare a contract with the designer. With the vendor to purchase the product. So in the best case, it'd be fantastic if this was done before September 1st and the kids could come to school and jump on the first piece of equipment. But being a realist in the DPW world, things don't happen per place. And I don't drive a UPS truck across the country with the playground equipment, and I don't build the equipment. So there's a lot of constraints that we have no control over.
Yeah,
but
okay.
Obviously we're on the fast track. We like to get it done.
Right, okay. No, that's good to know. I mean, you know, generally our lead times from Play World are about 4 weeks.
Okay.
That's really quick. Some of our other vendors are a little bit longer, like Earthscapes is on the 10 to 12 and things like that. But generally it's about 4 weeks, but we just had a little bit of a fire at our factory. So that's put us back a couple weeks, so our lead times are a little bit longer now.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking for late summer, early fall, we don't see any, that wouldn't be a problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing, you don't want to go too far into the fall. Because of the rubber does have some limitations in terms of how warm it needs to be to put it down.
Okay. And
It's
what's
about
the
40
what's the coldest temp that it could go down at?
Well, they say 40 degrees. We've done it colder than that. They don't like it because the binder and glue doesn't really want to play with you when you do it that way. So, you know, generally late October is your limits there. Last year we did like 3 or 4 jobs in the first and second week of November because we had that stretch of weather where we had like 75 degrees out, and so you just never know what will happen. But yeah,
we got very lucky.
Yeah, we did.
In our case, where the location is, we're probably looking at late September because again, it's 30 degrees colder up there than anywhere else in town because of the wind. So it could be 50 here at Town Hall, and it's 32 degrees up at the top of the hill at school. It's it's just where it's elevated, and where it's open. It's a whole different weather environment up there.
No, you'd probably be okay into October. We've done some like that late, so I think you got some time.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Anybody? The public? I don't see any. So we have another interview. There'll be our third one. We're doing them all in one day, and then we're going to let the public watch this recording over the next week or two. They're going to give them a chance to get back to us with comments on who they think we should choose. Then the selection committee will sit down and make the decision on the designer we're going to pick to help us build this playground. So we have the funds. We're ready to go. We just need to pick somebody to lead us into the design and help us with the build. So, Angus, am I missing anything?
No, I just want to, reemphasize you guys have put quite a lot of thought, care into the proposal. You bring a lot to the table, and we're really appreciative of your time and efforts.
Well, again, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
If there are any questions, certainly reach out, and we're happy to answer as best we can in the interim.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.